Welcome to another episode of Discover Harmony Florida. I'm Kristen McCary, and I'm here with your host.
Janine Corcoran, broker for Corcoran Connect, a real estate company.
And it is that time of the month. We're going to go over what happened in the real estate market.
I know what happened in the month of May.
Yeah, is May over?
May
It
We're
just
already
started.
into June, hurricane season's here. I mean, it's crazy. So we had 24 sales last month. So
That's quite a bit because in April we only had 13.
yeah,
But we knew, like, in April, I think we even talked about it, or
having a lot of pendings.
Yeah, that it was, the inventory crisis is starting to, even out a little bit, which is nice for all the buyers out there that are still needing homes. We're having homes hit the market.
Yeah. It seems like things are flattening out right now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it definitely is. A lot, you can feel the winds of change in the air. So that's good. But 24 sales. So what did we have in May? I wanted to say April because I can't believe it's June.
I know. No. So in the month of May, for Ashley Park, which is the condos and the townhouses, we had only 3, and the average price per square foot, which we always talk about, is $156.60, and that is down from last month.
Yep, but last month we only had one.
Okay, so
right.
that's
Okay. One house doesn't make a market, and
Okay.
it was 159. So we're it's
that's
pretty close.
Yeah, so
it was
let's
2049 for the one condo that sold.
And this is a mix of condos and townhouses too.
Right.
So.
Right.
Okay, well that's fair.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Close enough. I don't feel like it's that big of a change.
I was surprised that there were only 5 cash sales. So I see a little bit of a change. Some more VA, FHA, which is great.
Right.
And conventional is always there, but just surprised because the investors were really gung-hoing out, and so now only having 5, out of the 24.
Right. That's a pretty big difference. And I mean, I didn't count it for last month, but there was a pretty, there was only one cash sale last month. So I get in April.
So it's been changing.
So yeah,
for a while there it was cash.
Yep.
So
yeah, but that's good. I'm happy to see that. Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you just definitely want to have people living here. You know what I mean? And nothing against renters, please, by any means. But
heck, I was one here for 10 years.
Exactly.
12 years. How many years? I don't even want to talk about it. Actually, I just did the math. I'm good.
And resales, we only had 4 sales, and it came out to $190.37 a square foot, and that went down. What was it last month?
So last month the resales you had at 193.
Okay.
17. So again, a little bit, but there were only 2 resales last month in April. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, you're talking a numbers game. One house could kind of bring down an average, and so they're right about the same. I feel like we're kind of like you said, leveling off, plateauing a bit. Which is good for the buyers out there that really needed to. And that doesn't mean a bad thing for the sellers. Like if you've been in your house for 2 years, you still have a crazy ton of equity.
Yeah, it's not like leveling off doesn't mean like the market's crashing or anything like that. So
right.
Yeah,
just making it a little healthier.
Yeah, and then custom homes, we had 2 that sold, and average on that was at 202.91, and that
we didn't have any in April.
Yeah, so we had nothing. So no change there, and both of them were 1 stories, and that as we always talk about, 1 stories get a little bit more price per square foot.
Right.
What you have the lakes?
Yeah. So the lakes, there were quite a few sales in the lakes in April, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just look back at April really quick. So April we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sales in the lakes, and this time we only had 2. So that made a big difference, and their price per square foot jumped a lot, but they were also newer homes, located on the Songbird Street. So those seem to be a little bit higher price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so on Songbird Circle. Yeah, so $242.13 is a square foot.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good that the lakes are seeing some action.
Yes, and then you might as well do Enclave. There's only 1 that sold.
I know. Listen, that's a lie. That's just the only one that's in the MLS, and the county is taking forever to update. So it's hard to pull the accurate numbers for it. But there was one in the Enclave that sold. Price per square foot was at $247, which was up quite a bit from the previous month. So
if you look at price per square foot overall of everything that has sold, including Harmony West, which we'll go over in a minute, so you're looking at the Enclave having the highest price per square foot, and then the lakes.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
Yep. absolutely.
And so Harmony West came in at 208.21 a square foot.
Right, and they had quite a few sales there, didn't they?
Yeah, and there's only 1 2-story. The rest of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sales in Harmony West. One was a 2-story. And just to give you an instance, came in at 160.51 a square foot, and the average is 208.21. So single stories overall, just on not counting Ashley Park at all, just single family homes. One stories we had 17 that sold, and they average about 219 a square foot versus 4 2-stories that sold at 168 a square foot.
Right. So it's
Yeah.
a difference.
Yeah,
Big
I
difference.
always say that.
But
So-
it also one-story homes tend to be smaller because you can only get so much house on a lot.
Correct.
And the smaller homes tend to have a higher price per square foot than
always, yeah. So that
than a
plays
bigger
into the
home.
fact.
So,
Yep.
so it's
Yeah.
not just exclusively one stories are more valuable, just that.
I think they're
if
more
you have
valuable.
if you have a one-story home, you
I
know,
do. I
they're-
think it's very valuable.
well, that's because you live in one. I think if you have an owner's suite downstairs, then it evens the playing field.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, an owner suite with a guest bedroom
Yes.
on top of it,
Yeah.
because in case mom comes to visit.
Yeah, exactly. No, you need a passport to get back to me in the enclave. I'm so far away. I forgot something this morning and I had to go back to the house, and I was just like, wow, this is a real distance.
But soon to be open studio
Yes.
at the new house in the enclave, so
Yes.
there'll be no more traveling down
Yes.
to this end of Harmony,
Yes.
and it'll be a lot easier. Everything will
Yeah.
be set up.
So, what are you seeing in terms of the overall market? Like, with listings that you're taking on, with the number of listings, because I don't know about you, but I feel like I've been shooting a lot more real estate lately. Like sellers are starting to kind of like jump into the market. So I feel like that's kind of evening out the inventory crisis that we've been dealing with for the past couple of years. But what are you seeing on terms of the listing end of things? Like, how are things?
Definitely, especially the upper end houses are taking longer. They're staying on the house longer.
But longer in terms of like what
Time.
we've experienced the past 2 years, not longer in terms of like a historically normal market.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Like,
Yeah, no, just from what we came out of, what we were used to.
Right.
Everyone is expecting the house to fly off the market, and I still think that when you're in that sweet spot, you're still flying off the market.
right. And what would you consider the sweet
It
spot?
used to be in the high 3s or 375. Now it's like up to 450.
Right.
That's the new norm for the
Sweet spot.
sweet spot.
Right.
Yeah. So there's definitely in the 400s. Definitely. I know Bill had written quite a few offers with buyers, and luckily I think won them all. But and they were all in the 400s.
Right.
And that's a sweet spot. And he writes a strong offer, as do all of us.
Right. But so you think that so anything kind of over 450-ish is kind of, that's where it's starting to
I
see a
think I'd
couple
like
more
the
days on the
500.
market.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's taking a little bit longer.
And are you seeing anything different in terms of like the offers that are coming in or the offers that are going out, like with, appraisal gaps or, anything like that? Like, are any, is any of that stuff changing, the things that are winning the bids?
I haven't personally seen that change. Looking at, the agents that are writing their deals, they're still, making the buyers write a strong offer just
Right.
with the, I was talking to an old neighbor of ours. Their daughter was looking for a house, and I was explaining to her, and she's in that sweet spot.
Right.
And she's up in Orlando, so
Right.
that's the same thing. And I just explained to him what's going to happen. Basically, this is what you can expect, and in that price range, chances are it's going to be multiple offers, but we'll find out. But always, write an escalation clause, and
Right.
just talking them through the whole thing and how things work and how to be strong. So.
Right. So if you had a seller that's looking to sell now, what's your best piece of advice for them in terms of being, especially if they're kind of like right on that cusp, right? Like if they're right in that 450, 475.
So when we always tend to look at, which is how we should, we always look at the solds. What has sold historically and when it's sold. Like, if you're looking back 6 months of January, what sold in January changed during March, April, May. But now that things are flattening out, we used to figure, okay, well, the prices are still really appreciating. How much of an appreciation can we give and allow to close, above what the last one closed for? But now that kind of changed to be like, okay, well, now if we're flattening out, let's not, maybe add that appreciation in.
Let the buyers add it in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and you've always done that. You
Yeah.
know, it's always better to be below market,
Right.
to have, you know, multiple offers. And again, it really depends on their sweet spot. But yeah,
Right.
definitely the higher end homes are taking longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's typical.
Yeah, that is
in a
typical.
normal market.
In a normal market, that's
Right.
typical.
The-
You know, it
well, I
takes
think
longer.
we were both very flabbergasted when the custom homes were hitting the market and flying off in days, and we were just
Yeah.
like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was.
And we still have all the Disney people coming and things like that.
Yeah,
you know, so.
absolutely. And this area is growing like crazy. Like, I don't think that we're, in terms of like, you know, anything that's going to happen on a national scale or whatever. Like, I just think, you know, we're in a good spot here. But I feel the winds of change. But I also feel it because it's twofold, right? Like, some buyers are kind of like sitting on the fence and they're just like, hey, maybe I signed a lease for another year.
A lot of that's
so
happening.
Their urgency is gone because now they're already in a lease. So they're kind of like, well, let me sit back and see what happens. Are the rates going to go down? Are they going to go up? Or da da da. But also, I think sellers are entering the market right now. They're putting their homes up for sale more. So we're helping with that whole inventory crisis that we dealt with for.
Yeah. And you know what? I also see a change with the builders.
Right. What are you
So-
seeing there?
Well, because we get weekly emails from the builders, you know, just putting out what they have, and now all of a sudden it's, you know, no wait on homes. We have, you know, spec homes or inventory homes, and,
Right.
and just like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, now they're offering, oh, we'll pay you a bonus. So I'm like, it's like they're always like 3 weeks ahead of us
Right.
for some reason.
Well, because their houses aren't ready yet. I mean, some of them are, but for the most part, builders are like building for 6 months down the road. You know,
Right.
like if your house is a block or
So
whatever.
they're coming out of this frenzy, building, expecting, you know, and they were doing multiple offers too.
Right.
They were like
Oh, they were.
waiting till it built and then said, okay, here's a list. Like I think D.R. Horton's given us a weekly list, and they would say, here's your list. We want your highest and best. I haven't seen them say, I want your highest and best. Now
Right.
they're saying this is inventory that's available right away for your buyer.
Right.
You know, come here. You know, if you close it by this month, we'll pay a bonus. We're paying for the closing costs. So
Right.
not all builders have changed,
Right.
but yeah, because we get those emails all the time.
So, and that's a great point too to buyers. You know, I mean, you might have counted out new builds before.
Yeah,
Maybe
but-
you couldn't wait, but with them starting to, you know, have inventory available and you're not dealing with multiple offer situations. That's actually how we were finally able to buy a house, is just because we lucked out. I can't tell you how much of a God thing that was, because it was literally between Christmas and New Year when nobody was buying a house. And me and Q just decided to go in and see what they had, and lo and behold, we found a house that was available and just snatched it up right away. So, but if, you know, other than that, it was, you know, losing out offers because we didn't maybe have the extra cash to bring for appraisal gaps and whatever. And so, you know, definitely a great time to check out the new builds, but don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always think it's a great time to buy, no matter what market it is. This is my personal opinion, and I probably don't have any fact behind it, but I always feel like from Thanksgiving through New Year, unless you're a snowbird,
Right.
Unless you're in the 55 and older, that's different. But just overall, been in the market since 2005. Overall, it's sleepy, it's slow. People are in holiday mode. People that have the house on the market and want to get out are definitely more flexible when it comes to
Right.
that. Now, that may not be true for that sweet spot,
Right.
You know, because that still could be going on. But I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, I
you know.
agree, because I think that a lot of people like aren't necessarily looking very hard, and if you have a seller that's selling a house that has to get out, then
Yeah.
they're more
There's opportunity.
Yeah, there's opportunity for a buyer to maybe win a deal a little bit better, and you know, I just think again, it's a great time. And it's so funny, I had an old boss a long time ago. You know, when I got pregnant with Rachel and I was like 18, and I was freaking out about, oh my gosh, my life's gonna be so hard now. And he sat down, he goes, you know, there's never a right time to have a baby. And I feel like you could always say that about a house, right? Like, did I buy it at the right time? Did I buy it at the wrong time? Because I make jokes, and you've heard me make jokes that the worst time to buy a house is when I'm buying a house. But I feel differently this time, because the best time to buy a house is just whenever you're able to. And, you know, so if the market changes and my house loses value, like, that's fine. I have a house. Like, I still have a house to live in. I still have a house for my family. Like, that's not going to change. So
And the rental prices are
that's
crazy.
absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sorry, I'm not paying that much for rental.
No,
I'm not doing it.
no.
I can't. Not in good conscience. So, you know, so anyway, you know, they're definitely changing in the market, and I'll be curious to see how it plays out over the summer, because summer's typically busier anyway, right? Like kids are
Yeah.
out of school.
Yeah, so usually like Memorial Day weekend slow, the week after slow, but then it picks up again because then people have settled into the routine, and then summer starts and they'll go through the end of the summer for the in a normal market,
Right.
So, and
In
then
your-
September slows down a little bit again, picks up again, and then slows down at Thanksgiving. So
Right.
exactly. That's just. We should have
Yeah.
a mood chart.
I'm telling you, but that's, I mean, you can think about it. If you have kids or for, other states, their school years don't end as early as ours do. Like we
Right.
have family up north that they're not
September.
going to get out of
starts.
school until the end of June.
Right.
Whereas we've been out since the end of May.
Right.
But you start to see people making those relocation moves during the summer when their kids are out of school, especially if they have families. It's a great time to make those moves. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this summer plays out. I'm excited to see, what happens. And I'm really happy to see, like you said, that the past couple of months we're starting to see a change from cash buyers to FHA and VA, which means
Yeah.
we're having a lot of homeowners enter the market. So
Which is great.
I'm excited for that.
And if you're were in the market and got out and thought, forget about it, don't give up. I think there's going to be more opportunity coming.
Absolutely.
And just don't let the interest rates scare you, because historically over time, I mean, of course, if you're looking back at 2% and 3%, you're going to think, oh, this is horrible. It's really not, because remember when it went to 6%? It was like, wow, 6%, and that wasn't a long time ago. You know what I mean?
No, those were really great rates, and that's what I
and
said.
then it went
like,
to 5%, and it seemed like it stayed at 5% forever.
yeah.
So
that seems like what our new norm is. But it's so funny because we were having dinner last night, and my siblings are comparing how awesome they did on their house deals when they bought over the summer last year. My brother with his 2.7 interest rate, my sister's complaining about her 3 point something.
3.1, which, by the way, getting the PMI off if you bought and have
Yep.
equity, get that
Do
off.
it out. Do it now. Do it
Do
now.
it now before, yeah.
Yep. But and I'm like, yeah, you guys, I'm the middle child. You can tell. 4.625.
Oh, is that what you ended up?
I had 4.625.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were 5'6".
No, I'm not that bad. No,
Oh, okay. So that's not
4.625.
bad.
And again, if I look at it historically, 4.625 is not bad. I'm just looking at it on the heels of 2.7. So like 2.7 was, really sweet. And I was looking at houses in that time frame. And 4.625 is a considerable amount higher than that. But it's still a really good interest rate. And like,
You know what else is interesting? If you are buying a house and you're using conventional loan, let's say you're putting down the 20%, so you have no PMI, check with your lender about FHA. Well, and VA if you can, but FHA, because their rates are lower.
right.
You
Which
know?
I wish I would have known that.
I know.
Like when I closed, like why wasn't that an option? I wouldn't have had
Yeah.
any troubles with appraisal. I qualified for FHA. Like
Yeah.
I should have, if I would have realized that, with rate being such a big deal to me, like I wish I would have.
Yeah, and that came
Push for
through
that.
through a mortgage person that it was my buyer, and they would conventional, put down 20%, and then they ran the numbers with FHA, and they were like, it's just such a better rate, and the payment was a lot less, and,
Right.
And so, but it was hard for me because I was already in contract, and I presented it as a conventional, so it was like, can we switch to FHA? But thank the Lord on the seller, because he was okay with it.
Right.
It wasn't like a hardship. It wasn't because of credit score, because
Right. It was just overall, it was a better deal.
yeah, we told them how much they would save going
Right.
to FHA. So
And,
they,
like-
they said okay, and they let us do it, and it closed FHA. So
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great for them.
yeah.
I wish I would have known.
But
too
still,
bad that wasn't.
4.6. I thought I've been telling people it's 5 point. Oh, yeah,
No.
she closed at 5.6.
No.
That's what I thought you closed at.
4.625 is
Well,
what I
that's
got.
a good rate. Stop crying.
Listen,
Stop crying.
I got my older brother at 2.7, my younger sister at 3.1. Here I am, the middle child. It's the middle child syndrome is all it is. It really is. I'm like complaining. It's crazy.
And it's a beautiful house, 6
It's a beautiful
bedrooms.
house.
It's like a grand palace. So
Yeah, it really is. We love it, but I just, it is what it is. But anyway, so yeah, definitely things are changing, but again, it's not. Keep an eye on
no
it.
panic, no
No.
anything. It's just it's just flattening. I say flattening. She says changing.
Yeah. Well, you have to flatten before anything else. No, it's fine. It's all good. And I'm curious to see what happens, because I also feel like we're in Harmony in particular. We're kind of like families are starting to age out, right? So like my whole goal was always to live in Harmony until my kids graduated high school, right? Like I've got 4 years left. Like I'm not that far from, and I feel like there's some families that are kind of getting there now, and they're like, okay, my kids are gone, and I don't need this big house, and I'm gonna live somewhere else or whatever. And so I feel like we're starting to see more of that, like where you're kind of aging out of the housing process, which is nice because then you can fill in with new families.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think I did a post the other day. It said, "What is your family doing or wanting?" And it said, "Upgrading, downsizing, or upsizing."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
What was the result?
Oh, I don't know. I have to look at it. I just put them out there, but I don't really look at the results yet. I think it was pretty much split in the middle last time I checked, like
Yeah.
50-50. So I don't know who's answering, but
Right.
um,
Well, I'm curious to see, like, what are you doing? Like, what are your family dynamics changing? Are you?
do you want to do the harmony shuffle?
Yeah, exactly. The Harmony Shuffle is really popular. Maybe you start out in a starter home, then you kind of work your way up, and then you like move over to something else. And so there's a lot of that going on. Always historically. And I love Harmony. There's nothing wrong with Harmony. I just know for me, like once the kids leave, then it's less of a, need to be in this, in the neighborhood. Like we can go other places for work, etc.
Well, the rule books say when your children, the last one leaves for college, you can't move for a year. So you really have 5 years.
Who said that?
It was in a book.
Well, they're not smart.
Well, your child can't go to school, and they'll want the comfort of coming home to their room, and then you're like, oh, by the way, we moved.
Well, hey, listen, Olivia is going to graduate, and I don't know if she's going to college. I'm pretty sure that girl has a career in sales coming up. She could sell ice to an Eskimo. I don't even know. She's very good. I just wish she'd see it, and, whatever it is, real estate or something else, I think she'd be a phenomenal
I
salesperson.
tried. She says she didn't like it.
I know,
we'll
but
see.
listen, she can sell something else. It doesn't have to be real estate. She can sell. So you never know. We'll see. Find out what she wants to do.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. If you have any questions or if you want any comments, leave them on YouTube, right?
Oh, yeah. YouTube's a good place. Getting a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more in YouTube.
Yep. So leave us a comment there. You can send us an email at discoverharmonyflorida@gmail.com. Give us a call at 1-844-CORCORAN, CORCORAN. Or I think you can actually leave comments on podcasts too. So,
you can?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So go ahead and leave us a comment wherever you find us. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you soon.